When trying to grow your Spotify, you need to think of the traffic drivers that are bringing people to your profile. And we're going to dive into Spotify for Artists to see exactly what these drivers are. So if you go over into Audience, you'll see that I'm getting pretty consistent streams every single day. So where do those listeners come from? Well, they don't fall out of the sky. They need to be driven from another source, right? That source can be external, like Facebook ads, which I'm not running right now, by the way, but I have in the past, right? Or they can be an internal traffic driver, like a Spotify playlist. And there are different types of Spotify playlists. I've covered this in depth in many videos on this channel. But recently, something that's really cool is that I've even gotten an algorithmic traffic driver. You can see right here the radio, algorithmic radio feature that's built into Spotify. This is not paid. You can't sign up for this. It just gets activated once you have enough streams, enough fans. But this radio function is giving me 4,000, almost 5,000 streams every month from an internal traffic driver. So if you're here, if you're watching this video to grow your Spotify, understand the traffic driver concept behind where these fans come from, right? They're not going to just poof appear and listen to your music, right? They need to be driven, right? If you have a mailing list, you can drive traffic from your mailing list. If you have a social media profile that's quite large, like a TikTok or an Instagram or Facebook, you can drive traffic from those platforms. Or YouTube, if you have a YouTube following, right here where you're watching this video, you can drive traffic. But understanding how to drive traffic is the single most important skill that you should master as an artist who's trying to grow platforms online, trying to grow a following online. Understanding that is crucial. It's finally time to set the record straight on some very common misconceptions in the music industry. And there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people right here on YouTube that are sharing their opinions. And I'll just say a lot of them are awesome. A lot of them I agree with, but there are other individuals that I feel are sharing things that are just time wasters, that are going to have you running in circles and chasing the wrong carrot when the goal should be a long-lasting, profitable, and engaging music career. Engaging meaning with your fans, right? And everything else is just either a stepping stone or a distraction. So my goal of this video is to bust those myths. And if you're here watching this video, hopefully you trust me enough to hear what I have to say about this. And my other goal is to save you time so that you can find the straight and narrow path towards your music industry goals and not get distracted by these music industry myths. So let's discuss. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan from the Indie Music Academy, the channel where we uncover the mysteries of the music industry, learn how to grow a larger fan base, and earn an income from our music. And today, I want to cover some statements that have been said to me many times over the years of doing music industry coaching and marketing training for independent artists. And these statements are basically encapsulating some myths that I just keep hearing over and over again that just are not true when it comes to building an organic fan base as an independent artist. And they're semi-myths, semi-instructions that I just think are going to waste your time and are going to maybe lead you down a longer road towards success and maybe even sidetrack you so much that you just get frustrated and give up. And that's not what I want. What I want for you is to make progress quickly, but the right kind of progress. The progress that's going to last, where you're making meaningful connections with your fans and you're actually generating revenue with your music. Yes, I said it, revenue. I'm not talking about Spotify streams or royalties that are just fractions of pennies, but actual revenue from building a business surrounding your music and building a bigger brand surrounding your your music. So before I dive in, if you're interested in anything that I just said, I actually have a free workshop for you that is the best way to start out with the Indie Music Academy. It's completely free, and the link's down below where you're gonna get instructional videos, PDF downloads, and ebooks, as well as email lessons that I'll send straight to your inbox. All you have to do is let me know where to send it. And it's my best stuff, honestly. Like, for example, this video that you're watching right now started out as an email that I sent out to the list of artists that I train. So you can trust that I'm always going to send you the best cutting edge marketing training. I don't hold back. And you should start with the workshop that I prepared for you in advance. So once again, that link is down in the description below. Wouldn't want you to miss it out, especially if you want to learn music marketing and grow your fan base online. So now let's turn to these music industry myths that I keep hearing over and over again. And by the way, some of these things have been mentioned in YouTube comments, so don't be shy with sharing your thoughts below. A lot of times it informs the future videos and you can actually get your questions answered. And other times there are email replies from artists on my mailing list, and I read those, I collect them, and it helps me figure out exactly what I should speak on this channel. And so the first one is the myth that your music alone should attract a fan base, right? It's this mindset that my music is just going to be so good that fans will be attracted like a magnet. Now, this statement feels really good to say because think about it, if you have to rely on marketing or tips and tricks, or you have to rely on Facebook ads to grow your music career, then your music must not be very good, right? Well, that is actually completely false. Even signed artists on record labels rely on marketing to grow awareness and to build a fan base. It's kind of a really backwards thought. Your music will not attract fans all by itself. Just think about it. How are you going to let your fans know when you're performing? How are you going to let the online world know that your new album is coming out? There is a vehicle of communication called marketing that you need to implement in addition to creating the best possible music that you can. To get into specifics, when building a fan base, you need to focus on gathering fans through traffic drivers. A traffic driver is the force, it's the gas in the tank that is going to bring fans to your music, and your music's not going to drive its own traffic. That would be like expecting a kite to fly without a breeze, or expecting your car to run on an empty tank of gas. Similarly, your music's not going to get any visibility unless if you build traffic drivers. And these traffic drivers are in front of us every day. They're the social media channels that we use. They're the tools like Facebook ads, or the platforms like YouTube. Even a Google search can drive traffic. So if you're thinking that your music is going to attract fans all on its own, just the sheer quality of songwriting or production is going to somehow magnetize complete strangers off the internet to your music, that's a broken mindset. And it's a mindset that's going to lead you astray because you'll be focusing on maybe making music a little too much. You might be in the position where you have multiple albums released. Maybe you have 20, 30, 40 songs posted online, but your fan base isn't growing. And if you're in that situation, what I would say to you is it's finally time to focus on the drivers of traffic that are going to get your music discovered by new people. And if you're someone who's starting out, maybe you only have a couple songs released, but you've heard this said around the internet, or maybe in forums or in comments, where your music should stand on its own and it should attract fans on its own. What I would say to you as a beginner is be careful of this self-defeating mindset. Even major artists on major record labels promote the music that they make. And so why would that be any different for us independent artists, right? Marketing is the driver of traffic to your music. Now let me show you an example of a traffic driver that you've probably already heard of. I'm going to cut to the screen capture and show you exactly what I mean. When trying to grow your Spotify, you need to think of the traffic drivers that are bringing people to your profile. And we're going to dive into Spotify for Artists to see exactly what these drivers are. So if you go over into Audience, you'll see that I'm getting pretty consistent streams every single day. So where do those listeners come from? Well, they don't fall out of the sky. They need to be driven from another source, right? That source can be external, like Facebook ads, which I'm not running right now, by the way, but I have in the past, right? Or they can be an internal traffic driver, like a Spotify playlist. And there are different types of Spotify playlists. I've covered this in depth in many, many videos on this channel. But recently, something that's really cool is that I've even gotten an algorithmic traffic driver. You can see right here the radio, algorithmic radio feature that's built into Spotify. This is not paid. You can't sign up for this. It just gets activated once you have enough streams, enough fans. But this radio function is giving me 4,000, almost 5,000 streams every month from an internal traffic driver. So if you're here, if you're watching this video to grow your Spotify, understand the traffic driver concept behind where these fans come from, right? They're not going to just poof appear and listen to your music, right? They need to be driven, right? If you have a mailing list, you can drive traffic from your mailing list. If you have a social media profile that's quite large, like a TikTok or an Instagram or Facebook, you can drive traffic from those platforms. Or YouTube, if you have a YouTube following, right here where you're watching this video, you can drive traffic. But understanding how to drive traffic is the single most important skill that you should master as an artist who's trying to grow platforms online, trying to grow a following online. Understanding that is crucial. Okay, the second music industry myth that just grinds my gears beyond belief is the thought that you need to grow your Spotify in order to earn a music income. And this is just completely backwards. So I'm a big fan of growing Spotify. I think I've made this incredibly clear in my past videos. I actively work to grow my Spotify. I offer Spotify playlist promotion for artists. I help artists with their Spotify Facebook ads. I do it for my own music. I do it for my friends' music. And so I just want to make this clear. I think you should grow your Spotify. But the reasons behind that growth are what I'm trying to speak to right now. The reason I grow my Spotify is not to grow my income. I grow my Spotify to create opportunities. And this is a huge mindset shift, right? Let's talk about Spotify royalties really quick. A stream is worth so little. You know this, I know this. I've talked about this on the channel before. It's worth like 1/3 of a penny, and the amount of streams that you need to generate to simply just earn $1 is not even worthwhile, in my opinion, right? The money that you're gonna generate on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, I don't wanna make Spotify the boogeyman here, just all streaming platforms in general, is not gonna be enough in the beginning as an independent artist. Now, I know what you're thinking. Huge artists with millions of streams are generating thousands and thousands of dollars. Yes, but I'm not talking about them right now. I'm talking about you and me, independent artists with independent artist marketing budgets who are starting our career, who are unsigned in our shoes today. Spotify is not going to be a source of revenue that's even going to tilt the needle a bit. So what is Spotify good for? Well, I treat it as a social media. It's for clout. It's for getting opportunities. It's for landing blog placements. You bring it to the table when you're discussing a record deal with a label, right? Record labels care about your Spotify numbers. That's a fact. I wish that wasn't so, but that's just the truth. And that's why I build my Spotify, and I want you to adopt that same mindset. Treat it as a social media that needs to grow in parallel with the rest of your career. Because think about it. If you grow your Spotify, but that does not lead to an increase of income, it does not lead to more product sales, it does not lead to more Patreon supporters, and it doesn't really lead to any real impact in your real musical life, then what's the point of that, right? It needs to grow in parallel with the rest of your career, not just as an island over here, this closed ecosystem that doesn't represent the rest of your career. I hope you agree with me on this. And here's another thing. Spotify is great for clout and opportunities, getting placements, landing deals, all of that great stuff. But let's say you land the record deal, but you don't have any real traction to back it up. You don't have a mailing list. You don't have customers and supporters that are generating revenue who are actually going to your shows. Then that record deal is going to be a very awkward trial run, and you might end up getting shelved by the label for not performing the way that they expected. So here's what I'm trying to say in a nutshell. Take off the rose-colored glasses and see everything for what it really is. Yes, you should grow your Spotify. Spotify is useful. Spotify is a part of our daily lives as a musician, and attention needs to be given towards that platform. But don't believe for a second that you need to grow your Spotify to earn an income. And this leads us to our third and final music industry myth, which is I'll make way more money on a record label compared to being an independent artist. This statement is completely false. In fact, it's not as black and white as record label, money, independent artist, poor, broke. It's not always that cut and dry. To unpack this a little bit, we just need a better understanding of income generation as a signed artist. I covered this in my last video, but I'll say it again. When you are a signed artist or you're signed to a publisher, you're going to get either an advance or what's called a draw. And this is a sum of money that is paid to you so that you can quit your Starbucks job. I'm not trying to make fun of people who work at Starbucks. I used to work at Starbucks, so that's just part of my story. But they want you to quit your barista position so that you can focus on music full time. And unless if your name is Taylor Swift, your first advance is probably going to be around the average minimum wage, maybe around $30,000 for a good deal. Now, the dark side to getting an advance is that it's actually held as a debt against your future royalties. So it's actually not profit, because that lump sum of money, that $30,000, is actually a debt that you have to repay from your future royalty. So any future success is not going to go into your pocket until that advance is recouped. But just for the sake of argument, let's forget about recuperation. Let's forget about that debt that you owe to the record label. Can an indie artist surpass $30,000, which is a basic entry-level record deal? And I think that it's absolutely 100% yes, it's possible for an independent artist to make a living wage. In fact, it's easier than you think for an independent artist to make double, triple, even quadruple that number in income. Let's do the math real quick so we can understand these numbers better. Think about how many fans you have right now for your music. That number might be 100 fans. That number might be 500, 1,000. A good way to estimate that is maybe how many people are on your mailing list right now, or how many people come to your in-person shows, or even on your Patreon. Actually, Patreon's a great example. So think of that number, and let's say that you have 100 fans on your Patreon paying $12 a month in support. That's already $14,400 in annual income. So with only 100 fans, it's not very much. Only 100 fans gets you halfway to that $30,000 yearly income that you'd get as a signed artist, but it's really a debt against your future royalties, okay? So that's with 100 artists. Now let's say that you find some really good traction. You have a couple of great songs that are, local hits, minor hits, however you want to categorize it, and you now have 500 patrons paying $12 a month on your Patreon. You've already doubled what the record label is going to give you. You're now at an income of $72,000 a year. That's way above the average individual American's income. So you're already winning just with 500 diehard dedicated fans. Now, you've probably heard it said before that all you need is 1,000 fans and you can live your musical dream. And yes, I'm going to repeat that right now. Let's say that you have 1,000 diehard patrons paying $12 a month to support your music career because you're a fan-supported artist who is not signed, right? So you did not take the record deal. You're just building your fan base one fan at a time. You're sharing your Patreon membership, and they're signing up, supporting you $12 a month. Your income is now on par with most corporate upper management salaries, $144,000 annually just from 1,000 patrons. Now, I don't know what you're thinking right now about that 1,000 figure. That might be way off from where you're at, or you might actually have multiple thousands on a platform right now that all you need to do is convert them over to becoming paid supporters, right? I don't know what situation you're at, but the numbers are clear. You don't need a record label to earn a music income. And I just want to take this one step further by dreaming big a little bit, because a lot of independent artists think that they need millions of fans in order to make millions of dollars, right? But let's just take that 1,000 fan number and change it to 5,000 fans, right? That's still a big increase, but it's nowhere near a million. If you have 5,000 patrons at $12 a month, you are making $720,000 every year. $720,000 every year. That is 3/4 of a way to $1 million every year, just with 5,000 patrons. Now, I'm not saying that's easy to achieve. Everything that's worthwhile is going to be difficult, but breaking down the numbers in this way hopefully is showing you that you don't have to reach millions of fans. You don't have to get signed. You actually just need to take whatever your goal is and divide that by 12, and that becomes your monthly goal. Divide that by 52, and that's your weekly goal. I hope I'm opening your mind to just the possibilities of staying independent, or at least making a pretty good living until the right deal comes along. So with that, don't assume that getting signed is a guarantee of money. Odds are any cash you might receive from a record label is just going to be held as a debt against your future royalties. And even as a signed artist, your work of growing your fan base isn't even over. The marketing is still going to largely fall onto your plate. So don't think that getting signed is going to be a way out or a way to skirt your responsibility of growing your own fan base. So I want to know what you think. Leave a comment below and let me know if this was something new to you, or if this just reinforced a mindset that you've already had. And if this video was helpful to you, go ahead and click the thumbs up button, and go ahead and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a future video from the Indie Music Academy. Your support is truly appreciated. Even just the fact that you watched this far in the video really helps the channel. So I just want to thank you for being here still, and for listening to my voice and trusting me to help you with your music career. If you want more help, I just want to remind you of the free training that I have linked in the description below. And then leave a comment below answering this question. Do you want to get signed one day, or would you rather grow your fan base one fan at a time? Let me know. I really want to know how you truly feel about this. Feel free to write as little or as much as you want, and I'll dive in to the comments, answering as much as I can as time allows. So I really appreciate you guys. Comment below, and I'll see you in a future video on this channel.